Recently, I got to spend a few days in the presence of my fiance's cousin, who is just under 2 years old. He's a normal, happy toddler who feels safe and loved, and has many people around him who love him. And as a result, he's absolutely unafraid to be himself and to express himself. And it reminded me of something that the philosopher Alain de Botton said about how people who want to be famous as adults often do so because they are broken inside, because they're trying to make up for a lack of attention that they had to endure as young children. Because children need to feel like the center of the universe for the first few years of their life, so that later they have what they need in order to accept themselves and accept their lives as being ordinary. No one can give a gift that they've never possessed, including to themselves. But it also made me think of something else. It reminded me of the lack that I had in myself as a child. I had a father whose approach was that if he wasn't happy, no one else should be. So he went out of his way to disrupt that and made it his habit to insert panic and terror wherever a child would usually have calm and joy. During that time when my brain's amygdala, the threat-sensing part of the brain, was meant to be inactive, it was instead forced to grow and develop in ways that it was never supposed to. And I've spent over a decade trying to fix that and the downstream effects it has had on my life, from the quality of my sleep to my baseline level of anxiety that permeates everything about me, to my prior inability to mutually give and receive love in relationships. No one can give a gift that they themselves have never possessed. And you know what? I've made a huge amount of progress. I am nowhere near where I started. My life is 1,000 times better than it was. However, I also noticed things like, unless I meditate to take myself out of autopilot, I can default back into this threat-seeking mode. And I end up putting a negative interpretation on events without being conscious that I am doing so. In the most developmentally important stage of my life, my brain was always looking for signs that life is going to hurt and disappoint me. And that's still the most natural story for it to write now. Now, I have a huge amount of influence over my mental software today, but not so much on the mental hardware, which was and is built for finding threats and problems. And as a man, let me tell you, anxiety will cripple your relationship success. And it did for me for most of my life. Women want to feel safe, not just that the man that they're with would never hurt them, and not even that he can protect her from things, but that he is also at peace with himself, calm, not afraid or anxious, so that he can then give that peace to her when she is anxious. But again, no one can give a gift that they themselves have never possessed. So what can I and people like me do? Do we just give up? Do I live in regret of what I could have or should have been? How do I get to a normal that I've never had and never known? The truth is, the only way through this, and the only way to actually make progress and heal fully, is to accept that you may never heal fully. Of course, we have to do what we can. We ask ourselves difficult questions. We do therapy. We meditate. We choose to starve the negative thinking patterns and conversely feed the healthy ones. But this also isn't something that we can make any progress on if we fill it full of emotional charge, if we are desperate for it to change. Be it shame, regret, or clinging to a story that isn't our reality. In learning to love our lives as they are, and to find gratitude and joy in even the most simple things, we can be in a place to be more truly aware of our thoughts. And just like in quantum physics, what is observed is changed. And that's where the hope is. The default state of someone traumatized as a child might never be fully neurotypical. Just like if your parents broke your legs when you were a child, you probably won't ever be an Olympic sprinting champion. But you can be a lot better than where you started. And you have to be okay with where you are and enjoy the journey to where you're going. It's important not to make the mistakes of, on one side, giving up, and on the other, making some underdog story where you think, oh, I'll show them, and make your life into performing to an audience who aren't even watching. Both sides of that come from not accepting the past as it has happened, and from not focusing on the life you have in the present. So don't wish it was different. Live it as it is, fully. And therefore, in doing so, in living with the awareness of how it actually is, and in calmly seeing it as it is, you change it. The life we have now is all we have. And this is the hand we were dealt. So don't wish for a different game or refuse to play because you're scared that you might lose. Each and every one of us is here to play the game with the hand that we were dealt. So don't take it too seriously and go play. I hope this helps.